But more or less, preliminary design for the entire corridor and survey for the entire corridor.
So where we're at on the North 12th Street is to wait and see if we get the grants, and then we'll decide if we
We'll
want to
decide
proceed,
which
if we want to
project,
proceed,
yeah.
and if how we're going to pay for it.
That's right. We don't want to tie you into, a lot of design work up front until we decide exactly what we want to do. But more or less, these designs, and Darren will mention this later too on his project, is that it's not going to change. I mean, if we wanted to shelve the thing until another year, for financing concerns, we could do that. It won't change. It's just the easements will. We'll just have to know that up front because they do have a definite expiration on it. Typically, it's just 1 year.
Okay.
When we acquire those easements. So we'll have to be mindful of that if we do shelve some of these projects. Or split them up into more phases.
I know it's hard to predict the future, but do you have any feeling what our chances would be of the grant coming through?
Well, the unfortunate part is with the stormwater projects, they're lumped in with the other community development style projects, so your community centers, your libraries, projects like that where, they're a little more frilly, so to say, and of course the board likes to give the money to those projects, but our angle has been, we have the money, we have the plan. You give us the money, we're going to show something for this grant. It's not like it's going to sit on the shelf and we'll, if we get the grant money, we can get the marble tile, sort of thing. I mean, that's always been our angle, but unfortunately, the pot is very small, and I would still recommend every year to try to apply for these grants, mainly because, eventually sometime, maybe they may not give out all of their money. So it's more or less, we need to be there so that we can, it's tough to say this, but whatever's left over, we need to be there just in case. And it doesn't, to turn these grants in, it doesn't take a whole lot, and that was the purpose of the study. It gives us that tool to say, here's our list of projects, we need the money to do these projects. And that gives us our avenue then to make these applications for the grants.
Are there any other questions?
We need a motion to approve that bill, or?
Yes, what's next? Yes.
Well, I live in the area that you're talking about. I'm just curious, what problems did you find and what are you going to do to alleviate these problems?
What we're looking at is, of course, the major problem is behind the church in the alley. We have that one single intake that's down at the bottom. And what happens is, all the stormwater flow eventually gets to that point and it can't go anywhere else. So the only thing that it can do is pond up and then back up into the church, back up into the homes on the north side. It doesn't have a safe avenue to overflow and go downstream to the ditch down at Audubon and 11th.
How about the sewers right by the old grocery store? It seems like that whole intersection is underwater.
Right, and that will be part of the improvement. The idea is we'll capture the water at the intersection, at the main point before it gets to the alley, and then we'll pipe that out of the way so it doesn't just overflow and goes down at low point and it can't go anywhere after that.
So this is all storm sewer problem?
That's correct, yes. Well, it'll be a new storm sewer from that intersection down back through the alley along the old line, upsizing it, adding new intakes, and then taking that all the way then down to Audubon along 11th Street.
And we're still working on who's paying for it? Is the property owners going to be paying for it, or?
I thought you just paid for the whole thing. You're a nice guy.
I don't believe so.
No, but we're,
That's what we've got to discuss.
as part of the project, this is a stormwater project. It's not a street project. I mean, we try to minimize our costs with just in the design itself. We want to save as much street as we can, keep the sewer in the right of way, but between the sidewalk and the back curb. Try not to take out as much pavement, and just minimize those extra costs. I mean, it's a stormwater project. We need to pay for the storm sewer, but there are other things that we'll have to pay for restoration and things like that. But our design is to keep that to a minimum.
I think a further answer to that is all of us in town are contributing $3 a month. I think it's $3 a month.
Residential.
Yeah, all residential. And that money is partly what pays for that. In addition to, it's not just a grant, it's the storm sewer monies, and the storm sewer monies can be bonded against. That's how it gets paid for.
Mhm.
In essence, to your question, you'd have to borrow money and pay for it through the $3 a month, whatever it is, fees.
That's
for each
part of
person.
it. That's what that money's for. That's what that $3 a month is for these storm sewer projects.
And with that generator, you even know.
And I've got that on the department report. The city generates approximately $4,900 a month in storm sewer fees. This rate was implemented in November of 2006, so approximate revenue raised to date is $68,600. We've paid to date $14,818 in engineering fees.
So there's considerable, 5,000, 60,000, close to 60,000 a year. I don't know what this project costs, 300-400.
Total, all phases together, with the engineering and the right-of-way, I mean, we're upwards of $600,000. And that would be for the entire...
That's 10 years, 10 years worth of revenue. We'd have a 10-year bond. I mean, if you had to do that, even if you had to pay for the whole thing, you could pay for it with, probably be more than a 10-year bond, maybe a 12-year bond or something, but it can be done. But if you get a grant to cut it in half, well, that's a lot better.
And that's the thing with our grant applications, I mean, it shows to the grant board that we have a way to match their funds. I mean, it shows our involvement. The city has taken an ownership in this, and we do have a way to generate money to help pay for this. We're not looking for 100% handout, but we're just looking for help.
Yeah.
Any further discussion or questions? Thank you very much, Adam. I appreciate your time. Item 2 there, consideration of approving Snyder and Associates bill in the amount of $6,600. I need a motion to approve that. Is there a second?
Second.
Call for a vote?
Was that Gary?
Yes.
Gary, thank you. Roll call, Councilman Muska,
Yes.
Brenning,
Yes.
Frederick,
Yes.
Hanson,
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you.